Space Patrol was a science fiction children's puppet series from the early 1960s, remembered for its original and unusual style that was quite distinctive from the TV shows of Jerry Anderson, such as Supercar and Fireball XL5. It featured an equally distinctive spacecraft, the Galasphere 347. Despite the show's popularity, a toy of the Galasphere was never commercially produced, nor was a model kit issued, at least to my knowledge. As a special birthday present for one of my closest friends, I wondered if it would be possible to make a model of the craft. I knew he was a fan of the series, and the Galasphere in particular, so in secret, in case I couldn't do it, I began plans to make a model. There seemed to be little decent reference material available, so I began by taking some telesnaps from DVDs of the series. Stills suggested the model may have been painted with shaded areas, possibly of a different colour, but as the show was filmed and shown in black and white, I opted for a basic silver colour scheme. I drew up a guesstimated scale drawing, my intention to make the model large enough to feel substantial, but not too large to become impossible to display or store. I ended up with a set of plans proposing a model approximately 14 inches or 36 centimetres in diameter. I've no idea how this scale related to the size the ship was supposed to appear on screen, and decided not to worry about it. Firstly, I decided to see if I could make a mould of the cylindrical central ring. I made a quarter section of the ring from artist's board and filler, cast it in plaster of Paris, and tested what I could get from the mould. I hadn't liked working with fiberglass, making a model of the Liberator ship from the TV series Blake 7 a few years ago, so I wanted to try something less toxic to work with. I ended up trying paper mache, layering newspaper soaked in wallpaper paste. It didn't work. When it dried, I found the finish to be too uneven and unsatisfactory. Back to the drawing board. I then realised that if I could make a small section using artist's board and filler, it might be possible to use this approach for the whole model. I started by making a circular base. I made the central support from cardboard tubes, then started making semicircles to define the overall shape. I felt there should be more, so I increased the amount. I wanted to fill the gaps with something light before adding filler, something light and something cheap, so I ended up using toilet roll. Strips were glued into place, then painted to seal it. I used some spare enamel model paints as an undercoat. Then began the process of filling the gaps and sanding down the surface, until the surface began to get smoother. I decided to break up this process by starting on the central cylindrical sections while work on the surface of the main body continued. Finally, I could make the rest of the ship's details, which included using brass eyelets for portholes. Of course, I hadn't considered how to display the model. By this time it was pretty heavy, and the design didn't allow for display without support, so I had to opt for a rather clunky but secure stand. This was made from scraps of wood and dowling, measured to fit and glued together with wood glue. The model could finally be sprayed silver. For this I used car spray paint. The stand was assembled and the various components of the model glued together. I added one small detail, a marking clearly visible in the reference material I had collected. Then the stand was painted black and the model finally completed. Despite the crudity of the model's construction, I actually thought it looked pretty good once it was finished and mounted on the stand, and it was a much appreciated gift, which made it all worthwhile. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it vaguely amusing and you're all now going to want to rush out and build your very own Galasphere.